Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, you're listening to ESPN 95.3. ERX Paris Fort Smith.
Morning light breaking through the sky. Tommy and Ty got that crazy drive. Tune in now, don't be shy. Morning Rush gonna make you feel alive. Wake up, it's time to go. Tommy and Ty, they steal the show. ESPN Arkansas, feel the flow. Morning Rush, Morning Glow. Sports talk, hit the ground running. Life's and news always done. Game day vibes got you humming. Catch the beat, it's truly coming. It's time to go. Tommy and Ty, they steal the show. ESPN Arkansas, feel the flow. Morning Rush, Morning Glow.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios with Colton Little
and Tommy Kraft.
This is the Morning Rush.
Not really Ty Richardson here today. Myself, Colton Little, filling in for Ty. He's very popular. He's off doing various things in the Windy City. I don't know if he's golfing, if he's at a wedding.
Crashing a wedding.
Crashing
probably.
a wedding? Okay. Yeah. I typically just tend to tune him out when he says he's going to be gone because what's new with one of you two being gone? But happy to be here with you this morning on a Think Tank Thursday. Got a lot to cover this morning here, Tommy.
You feeling better?
I am feeling much better, to be honest with you.
I could tell you were still recovering yesterday.
Yeah, had to take one day off on Tuesday, and I try my best not to take too many days off because, I like my job. I care about it. And today I decided that I would make sure that I got here early, got some things prepared, having to fill the very small shoes of one Ty Richardson. That's not because of his talent. That's just because
he wears a size 7.5.
Really small feet.
He does.
You can't really help that. But you know what they say about small feet.
Yeah, they wear small
socks.
shoes. Yeah, small
exactly
socks
right.
too. Yeah. Well, glad you're here. Glad you're listening out there on a Think Tank Thursday here on the Morning Rush. It's brought to you by friends at the Inn at the Mill. It's going to be a busy weekend in Northwest Arkansas. If you're looking for a place to bed down on Friday night or Saturday night, or maybe you're coming up for a Mother's Day getaway weekend, the Inn at the Mill is going to have a great place for you. Or if you're already thinking about that summer getaway or a weekend getaway, the Inn at the Mill is the spot we love in Northwest Arkansas, and you will too. 479-443-1800 is the number. Call Jennifer. She'll get you fixed up with a great reservation and a great suite that's oversized, got plenty of room, great breakfast to start the day, and the location just off I-49 at the Johnson exit is super convenient. 443-1800 or online at inatthemill.com. Have you got all the Mother's Day shopping done?
I was going to say
for this weekend.
This is a very big Mother's Day.
This might be bigger than Christmas for some guys. You better not mess this one up.
Well, I've been getting Instagram Reels, TikToks, Facebook messages, Twitter links for the past several months now with just subtle, not so subtle hints about some things that she would like to do on this upcoming Sunday. And I think I have a decent plan. I've got some nice jewelry coming her way, maybe a couple of flowers, maybe just a couple, and hopefully a fun-filled day on Sunday with just me and the little guy and her just having a good time. But it's a very important holiday for me. I mean, obviously I love my own mother and my grandmothers who raised my mother and father, and I appreciate them as well. But it's very different now that I've seen a woman that I love go through motherhood and everything like that. So I'm excited about Sunday. And if you haven't already, go out there and make sure that you get everything squared away for this Sunday, because you don't want to be on the end of or the receiving end of what could be.
You don't want to be on the poop list.
Yeah, you don't want to be on that. You don't want to have to be doing monotonous chores for the rest of your days.
You do need to understand that you can enjoy these first few Father's Days, and then the gift you give on Mother's Day will have no correlation to what you will receive on Father's Day. Just understand that one thing has nothing to do with the other. You'll probably live in a little bit of a honeymoon phase for that for a couple of years, and then by about year 5, just be ordering pizza for Father's Day after filet mignon on Mother's Day.
I get her,
kind of how it works.
When I get her a trip to Tahiti, she gives me a Father's Day gift, like leaving
to Muskogee.
Muskogee.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really good.
Yeah,
Muskogee. Well, we got a lot to get into today here on the Morning Rush Think Tank Thursday. We like to make sure that we're using the best minds of our generation. That includes you as well, the listener. So text us, call us, all of your opinions, all your thoughts on what's going on out there in the world today. 377-6963. We're going to talk a little bit today about some of the reports coming out about some of the fundraising that may have been made in a very, very quick manner for the Arkansas tennis program. Talk a little bit about what North Carolina's athletic director had to say about some of these potential pay-for-play and pay-to-play things, because, you know, we can't always hear from our athletic director on some of these things. Talk a little bit about the expansion of both the college football playoff as well as the NCAA tournament as well. Talk a little bit about the softball team, because they had a great start to the SEC tournament yesterday, knocking off Mississippi State 3-0. And then, oh boy, just more hot goss coming up there out of there from New England and some of the former reporters from The Athletic. So a lot to get into today on a Think Tank Thursday, Tommy.
All right, we'll get to all of that. NBA playoffs, as you mentioned, coming up. We'll take a look at some of the lines as Thunder and Lakers going to get back after it. Bet Saracen's got everything you need, not just for college baseball coming up this weekend with Arkansas and Oklahoma, but your other favorite team in Oklahoma. The Thunder, with all those former Razorbacks on there and Arkansans, all the lines, the odds, everything for NBA playoffs available at BetSaracen.com. Arkansas's only local sports betting app that's here in state with Bet Saracen, and Arkansas's #1 sports betting app that's Bet Saracen.
You mentioned the Thunder. I think I saw 5 News did a little spot just recently here about how Isaiah Joe and Jalen Williams are being honored with street names here in Fort Smith. That's when you know you've made it, when they start naming streets after you. So happy for those two guys. They're having a good run right now in Oklahoma City, and they've done so much for this community here in Fort Smith, and they love to come back and give back to the community as well.
I think if they named a street after us, it'd be a dead end.
It'd be really
It'd
short.
be a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, something like that.
Short cul-de-sac.
Not paved, nothing like that. Yeah, it would probably just be a gravel road somewhere unmarked. But I really want to start right here, Tommy. Yesterday we got the news that Ted Turner died, and I know that you've talked a little bit about some of the impact that he had on you as a youth, just having all those Braves games being broadcasted all over the place all the time as well. And one of the other things that he also did, he also had a doomsday video that he made at TBS his very first day, I guess, whenever he founded that big media empire over there, a doomsday video, which was going to play whenever the world was supposedly to end as like a final sign-off, I guess, on broadcast television. So I want to know if we have a doomsday show prepared here for ESPN Arkansas. Or do I need to get that? Do I need to get on that?
You may be listening to it right now.
Maybe
this might be the doomsday show, but Ted Turner was a pioneer and an innovator, and anyone of my age probably watched WTBS and watched the Braves. The Braves went in a rain delay. You got to see the Andy Griffith Show, which he's the reason I am still such a huge Andy Griffith fan, because I'll still watch that on TV Land today, because Ted Turner ran them constantly at 8:05 or 7:05 or whatever the time was. All those great shows of my childhood that were repeats from my father's probably teenage years and younger years that came on TBS. But I became a Braves fan as a young kid because of Ted Turner and TBS and the nationwide, really one of the first nationwide non-news, non-network cable channels that came along. And, of course, CNN Headline News was the first of its kind, with a 30-minute loop, essentially, of news all the time. You'd watch, they'd have, one of the first 30-minute sports shows on that. That was really before we knew who ESPN was. CNN had their 30 minutes of sports every night. So, and really, Dan Patrick started there. Fred Smith? It wasn't Fred Smith. African-American gentleman. I mean, it had some of the really good talent that went on to ESPN and other places started there at CNN back in the day, back in the 80s. So, pioneer, ahead of his time, and eccentric fella, had some different views on things, but certainly and was integral in getting the Olympics to Atlanta in '96 as well.
I would say that any man that owns the world's largest private bison herd you could probably characterize him as eccentric. Yeah, but I mean, you talk about CNN and the Braves and stuff like that. I didn't know this till recently, just doing a lot of research on the guy. He also founded one of the cornerstones of my childhood, and I'm sure Ty would attest to this as well, but Cartoon Network. He's also very big in founding that. That's all a part of the TBS empire. So that's where we start this morning here on the Morning Rush. We'll get into some more serious stuff as well, and also read your calls and texts here as well on the Morning Rush here this morning. But some recent reports have come out here about the Arkansas tennis program and some of the things that have transpired in quite literally just the last 72 hours since this announcement was made. or excuse me, in the 72 hours since the announcement was made a couple of Fridays ago. According to, Andrew Hutchinson and some of the sources, I also read a tweet from the settler, Mr. Tom Mars, as well. So, this is very serious. Supporters of the Razorback tennis program were able to obtain $5 million in bona fide pledges in just 72 hours to keep the program alive. And it's unfortunate that they weren't able to be given this opportunity. And so I'm going to tie this in here to do a little bit, and something that we said. We talked to Robert Cox last Friday. It was a great interview. That's going to be on hitthatline.com. If you haven't heard it yet, you can go back there and listen. It's also in our podcast as well from that past Friday. You can go back and listen to it. It was a really good interview, and Coach Cox gave us some good insight into the conversation that he had with Hunter and the amount of support that the tennis program actually had that might have been maybe a little bit underestimated in some ways. But I don't want to get off base on this. I'm not a true professional. I don't have always the most perfect knowledge of all these situations.
You're a tremendous slouch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I am just a little bit confused on how I'm supposed to feel about this, because I heard what Robert Cox said last Friday. And then I've also heard some of these things about how now there's two different models in which we're sort of going about. And that's our opening drive. We're going to hear from North Carolina Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham, as well as Robert Cox here in our opening drive.
I think there's an opportunity, given a little time, give us a little time, where you can create those other athletic streams to come in and fund these non-revenue sports. Not only tennis, but the other ones. I'd be looking over my shoulder, seeing if Hunter was headed my way if I was one of these other sports as well.
I do think that we have to be concerned about what the future does look like. But I also think that those sports are going to continue somehow, some way. Maybe the configuration is different. So I don't think it's the end of those things, but I do think reconfiguring, refinancing, I do think we'll get to a bifurcated system. I've said this before, that will have two pay-per-play models. One is you will be paid to play your game, and another is you'll have to pay if you're going to play your game. And so that's where we're going to end up, I think, at some point.
This is the opening drive.
So you heard right there from Bubba Cunningham, North Carolina Athletic Director, there at the very end, and he made a very important point that I guess I didn't have the wherewithal to even think about, how there's now potentially going to be what is two systems. He called it a bifurcated system, which I won't lie to everybody. I did have to, crack up in the dictionary to figure out just exactly what that word meant. It essentially means two separate streams. And they're going to have to either be where you are paid to play, or you have to pay in order to play. And so with this, I'm just kind of confused as to how I'm supposed to follow all this, Tommy, how I'm supposed to feel about all this, because you've been on the record here. You've talked to me. You've talked to Ty about the fact that you believe that Hunter Yurachek, from a business sense, has made most of the right decisions, correct?
I think, in regards to
the tennis
program and trying to get the money freed up, the money available to make football competitive, because as bad as football's been, it is still the cash cow on the hill. And we can get more into this, but when you're trying to solve a $15 million problem, $2.5 million becomes a big deal. And about $2.6 million was the net cost of the tennis program. And it had an equivalent male sport when you look at the Title IX issues, and it probably had the least amount of what I would call corporate and big donor support compared to golf or maybe some of the other sports. And honestly, I would imagine part of their calculus was they thought they'd get the least amount of pushback on this. I think there was going to be pushback no matter what the sport was, but you couldn't go with volleyball. There's no male equivalent. Golf wasn't ever going to be on the table as an option. That's one of the reasons. And, you look at swimming and diving, that's a female sport only. There's no male equivalent to cut. So, when you consider Title IX, you consider total cost, you consider the $15 million equation they're trying to solve here in their revenue quandary, this to me made sense. And we mentioned this when this report came out in Whole Hog Sports, and Christina Long did the research and put the fiscal numbers out. We mentioned that, hey, the likelihood of sports being cut is going to happen. It's one of the few ways out of the issue you have, and now we're seeing the result of it.
Well, so and according to a recent report here on Best of Arkansas Sports from Andrew Hutchinson, according to his sources as well as the ones that Tom Mars retweeted as well, who's obviously very sourced, and he's an important lawyer here for all the NCAA shenanigans that are going on these days. He says supporters of the Arkansas Razorback tennis program were able to obtain $5 million in bona fide pledges in just 72 hours to keep the program alive. So what I want to know is if they were able to get $5 million in 72 hours, which I believe it is the athletic director's job to fundraise money for the athletic department, correct?
One of the main jobs,
if not the most important job, it is to do that. And so if all of these private donors and all of everybody else that kind of got together in spite of Hunter Yurachek to get $5 million together, that's enough to keep the program alive for
2 years.
2 years, correct? And in that time, could you not figure out a better plan? That was my original thought. In that time, could you not figure out a better plan to keep tennis alive and potentially make it like Bubba Cunningham said, where you have to unfortunately invest a little bit more from a personal standpoint? These tennis players may, these coaches may, these supporters may, to give them 2 years to bide their time to find a different revenue, to find a different avenue in order to make revenue, in order to figure out ways to not make this program be,
so to maintain status quo, the players and the coaches would have to raise $2.5 million every year in order to be able to do this.
Yes, and so
or an endowment that would cover that and the increased cost over the long term. Which, if you figured at 6% or so, it'll take about $40 million in an endowment to make that truly work.
That's right. That's what Coach Cox said this past Friday about how there would need to be an endowment. It would have to be around $40 million. But I guess my question on this is, if they had funding for 2 years, isn't that time to figure out a way to keep it alive and find a better long-term plan? That was my original thought. And then I thought, well, what else have they been trying to do for the last 2 years? What else have they been trying to get sold? What else have they been trying to do? What has been their main, or one of their main goals here for the last several years? And that is to get the naming rights to one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in all of Arkansas, and they still haven't done it. So I understand if they don't want to put.
What do you think that's worth, though?
Plate. I'd have to imagine it's worth more than the tennis program, unfortunately. But I mean,
but you're not going to sell the naming rights on the football stadium to fund the tennis program.
No, and that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that they've if they were given a plan to say, hey, here's $5 million, this will get us for 2 years. From there, you guys figure it out. You're the athletic department. If I'm the tennis program, if I'm these donors, I wouldn't trust them with anything to figure that out in the next 2 years. Because unfortunately, like Bubba Cunningham said, you're going to have to either pay to play, or these cuts are going to become more frequent. We're going to see other sports being cut, and maybe not here at Arkansas, like you said, Tommy, but other places as well. Who do we have on the line, by the way?
William is in Lafayette, Louisiana, on the Lewis Automotive Group hotline. William, you wanted to weigh in on this tennis discussion.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we had to acquire the $2.6 million to reinvest in football with, I guess, the long-term vision is that football will then yield dollars to maybe potentially come back in and restart a tennis program. But I do not think that model or that plan is accurate, because the football is going to continue to have
correct
larger number of investments. I don't think it's ever coming back. And I think it's the model in college football from Maine to California. Like, I just don't think it's going to be able to be.
Yeah.
There's no cap on the football. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're 100% right, William. The arms race, the minute you figure out, what your current needs are, a new need pops up for football.
100%.
And I don't think Arkansas is ever going to be caught up to its peers in the SEC, even if you just judge it by the middle of the pack. Do you have as many people in your recruiting office? Do you have as many people in your operational side? We see coaches and we see players. We don't see all the things that are, quote unquote, behind the curtain that really make it go. And there's been plenty of reports and plenty of conversation about, what Arkansas lacks in academic support, in recruiting support, in other areas that aren't as visual. That's where you're trying to catch up, is in a lot of those areas right now. That need is always going to be there because someone else is always raising the bar in your league.
And one more thing. So we up our staff. We up those recruiting department team members. They're going to need a cost of living raise every year. Like, it does not stop.
No.
I mean, it doesn't.
You have to feed the monster. You have to feed the monster. To me, the question is not whether or not tennis is coming back. To me, the conversation is what sport's next.
You're absolutely right.
And what this has done with the cancellation of the tennis program has sounded the alarm. Why all of a sudden are the supporters of the tennis program willing? why all of a sudden can $5 million just arrive?
Appeared.
Where was the $5 million 2 years ago? I think it's terrible that they've canceled the tennis program. I think it's worse how they handled it. But from a business standpoint, I totally understand how this makes sense. To me, the question's not whether or not tennis will survive and this $5 million will be a Band-Aid for 24 months and they can figure out the financing. My question is, are other sports on the chopping block? What sport would likely be next? And how does Title IX, which I don't fully understand, play into all of those questions and coming up with those answers?
Well,
so
we'll get into more of this a little bit later on. Obviously, we've got a couple hours here to unpack this. You talked about Title IX. I was a little bit confused at that as well. I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what I was talking about when I brought it up. I probably still won't when we do, but I do have the definition there that was given to me. So we'll get into that a little bit more later on here on the Morning Rush.
Opening Drive brought to you by APAC and Standard Materials Group, your number one source for top quality aggregates, asphalt, and ready-mix concrete. Whether you're working on a small residential project or a large-scale commercial job, APAC has you covered. No job's too big or too small. And if you need expert advice, their construction consultant services always ensure that you can get back on the right track. 479-587-3300 for all your rock, asphalt, and ready-mix needs. It's APAC and Standard Materials Group.
You know, you mentioned Title IX, and Tom Mars, he said later on that the Arkansas, I'm quoting his tweet here, the Arkansas AD has been heard to say to reliable sources in the past week, if anyone pushes the Title IX issue resulting from the cancellation of the Arkansas tennis program, he will fix that problem by creating a women's flag football team.
Well, you're getting that second hand, but I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think that those he's not going to scholarship a
women's flag football team. No,
so,
but I thought that was very interesting that they obviously have some Title IX issues they may need to resolve.
That's a middle finger that they're stretching out there a little bit at everyone.
Bit longer.
Hey, download the Hit That Line Now app. It's powered by Taco Bell. Whether you're craving something cheesy, saucy, or crunchy, Taco Bell has you covered. Take us on the go anywhere you go with the Hit That Line Now app, powered by Taco Bell.
Streaming live from hitthatline.com.
Hey guys, how you doing? Tommy, hi, Golden, the gang, how are you?
You're listening to the Morning Rush.
If your Razorback closet needs an upgrade, the University of Arkansas Game Day Collection is what you are looking for, only at Roback.com. They have brand new Arkansas hoodies and polos that are selling fast. Go to Roback.com to check out their new apparel. That's Roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use the code RUSH26 for 20% off your first order. Roback, where action meets comfort.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. If you're going to do some cold water bass fishing, you need to be using an Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad and can be worked from the top of the water column to the bottom. Whether you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. will catch them. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr.
Take it from Arkansas greats, Joe Klein and Pat Bradley.
The big national sports apps are now in Arkansas, taking over Oaklawn and Bentley, which are no longer local.
Making Bet Saracen the only real local app.
Still Arkansans' fan fave.
Plus, Bet Saracen is still the official sports betting app of many of the state's colleges and universities.
Bet Saracen, built by Arkansans for Arkansans.
Bet with Arkansans. Bet with Bet Saracen.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET.
You know, fun banter, whatever.
This is the Morning Rush.
Graduate to a road-ready certified pre-owned ride and get more for your trade at Rath Auto Resources. Just bring in your old car, even if you still owe money on it. Make the switch to a road-ready certified pre-owned and get up to $2,000 over appraised value for your trade. With our non-commissioned sales team, painless pricing, and some of the best lenders around, Rath is here to make finding your next car, truck, or SUV easy. Don't settle for the same old car buying experience. Get up to $2,000 extra for your old ride and see why all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith.
Taco Bell's $5, $7, and $9 Let's boxes are so luxurious, you might wonder if a chauffeur will pick you up from the restaurant. And how could you not? With selections like the signature $5 box, decadent $7 box, and abundant $9 box featuring the triple double crunch wrap with layer upon layer of what you love. While the drink is included, a chauffeur isn't. So plan accordingly. Don't let the Let's go to your head. Choose your $5, $7, or $9 Let's box at Taco Bell today. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Price of participation varies. Drinks excludes freezers and specialty beverages. That's extra.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Are you ready to indulge in an unforgettable fine dining experience? Then come join us at Uncorked, where every meal is a masterpiece, crafted with the finest ingredients to tantalize your taste buds. And with our extensive selection of cocktails, wine, craft beer, and bourbons, we've got something for everyone. So why not take a break from the ordinary and join us on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodi's? Come savor the moment with us at Uncorked, where every visit is a celebration.
Founded in 1950, Crabtree RV Center has grown into one of the River Valley's largest RV dealerships, proudly serving Northwest Arkansas, specializing in sales, parts, and service. We're truly your one-stop shop for all your RV needs. Conveniently located with easy access to I-40 and I-49, we're 40 minutes from Northwest Arkansas and just as close to our friends in Oklahoma, carrying top brands like Grand Design, Coachman, East to West, and Forest River. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
It's sad that we live in an unsafe world, but we do. Would you be able to show the police who was at your home if something was taken? Guardtronic installs alarm systems as well as camera systems. We here at ESPN rely on our Guardtronic installed cameras to keep an eye on what's going on around our building, as many of you do. Guardtronic has been serving the River Valley for over 60 years. Call Guardtronic for a free estimate so you'll be able to show the police who the bad boys are that took your belongings. License E50.
Evan Cohen here. Game day brings the excitement. Your stay should feel just as memorable. With Marriott Bonvoy, official hotel partner of the NCAA and U.S. Soccer, you're connected to a portfolio of brands designed for how you travel. Some offer complimentary breakfast, others give you room to spread out, space to stay productive, or extended stay comforts. So whether you're a traveling fan or part of the team, Marriott Bonvoy celebrates the moments that live on before and after the game. Marriott Bonvoy, where game day checks in.
In sports, the tape never tells the whole story. Hiring is no different. AI can make candidates look like an MVP on paper, so knowing the person and the skills behind the resume matters. That's where Robert Half changes the game. Our recruiters combine their expertise with award-winning AI to evaluate skills and fit quickly. Learn how we can find you specialized talent in finance, accounting, technology, and more. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Gage Wood, no hits him. Has a wide open man. It's Childs. He's loose. He scores. Childs, please.
Uncle Tommy loves the Razorbacks.
ARKNSAS.
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush.
Go Hog.
Whitetop, fly ball to right field. Sells back to the wall. Home run for Whitetop. Two left on left. Extra base hits in the inning. Down in the bottom of the order. Arkansas's balance comes to life, and it's 3-0.
That's Arkansas softball player Kaylee Wyckoff yesterday hitting a 2-run home run in Arkansas's 3-0 win over Mississippi State in the second round of the SEC tournament yesterday. They won 3-0. They scored on a pair of home runs. Wyckoff had that 2-run shot right there. She actually scored around a bunt first and then pulled it right back. Like Coach Kent Murphy would have been super proud of her. You never let him know your next move, Tommy. That was a fantastic game yesterday from the Razorbacks, including in the circle from Peyton Burnham, who pitched a shutout, and number 5 Arkansas scored on those pair of home runs to down the Bulldogs. They're going to take on another SEC powerhouse today in Alabama at 1 o'clock local time here So I'll probably be tuned into that a little bit as well. We were talking before the show, Tommy, talking about how softball is like, it's a very, very important sport, and people are talking about it more and more and more with the success that Coach Steifel's had here and just how good that program has been over the last several years. So I'm excited to see if they can continue this run through the SEC tournament, and like we talked about yesterday, finally break that seal, get that monkey off their back, and make it to Oklahoma City.
I think when you have a sport people have played, there's a lot of adult softball leagues.
Yeah, there are.
I think people relate to it. They gravitate to a degree to it, and we like success. I mean, let's just be honest. This is a winning program. Sure, it's like the baseball program. It's consistent, but it's a sport that's an easy watch, easy to understand. And here's what I think helps the sport as much as anything: they're about 2-hour games.
Yep.
You're not invested for 4 or 5 hours. I mean, football, we're passionate, but they only come around 12, 13, 14 times a year. There's a lot of baseball. There's a lot of softball games. But, man, you're in, you're out, 2 hours. I think that helps that sport as much as anything. And it's fast-paced.
Absolutely, very quick. And the Razorbacks will take on Alabama today, another SEC powerhouse, at 1 o'clock as well. Also in your Hog Update, some more postseason news for Razorback Athletics. Both the men's and the women's golf team have been selected as the number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament for the first time, and they're part of only 3 teams to do so in the nation. You were telling me before the show as well that in the new regional format they've had for the last, 30-something, some odd years, the Razorbacks have been involved either individually or as a team for, like, all but one of those years?
I think it's 37 years. They've missed one. They've been involved 36 of the 37 years I was reading yesterday. They're the 1 seed. Texas Tech is the next highest ranked team in this field out at Corvallis. So they're going all the way out to the West Coast. And no, they're not playing at Bandon Dunes, which would be a great mix of courses. But that is not the course they're playing out in Oregon. But hopefully this is the year Arkansas can break through and get a top finish. And, obviously got to get through this regional round first, which is 20 teams deep, and there's 4 ranked teams in the top 20 represented in this Corvallis regional. So got to play your best golf right now.
Absolutely. Got to play your absolute best golf in these scenarios. I want to talk to Tom about this a little bit later because he had a great article coming up. He had a great article on Whole Hog Sports talking about the next 2 opponents coming up for the Arkansas Razorback baseball team in number 21 Oklahoma, and then when you travel on the road to Kentucky. Tommy, those 2 teams are the top 2 base stealing teams in all of the SEC, and Arkansas's opponents have tried the least amount of steal attempts in the entire SEC. So something's got to give in that scenario, and I'm kind of excited to talk to Tom about that. What do you think about the whole base stealing?
Well, I think Ryder Helfrich's a big part of that, and you got a great middle infield with Camden Koziel and Nolan Souza. So I think Arkansas's got the reasons people have not attempted many steals at Arkansas is that personnel right there. So if I had to have one concern about it, if you force me, it's just the uneasiness you give the pitchers when those guys are getting generous leads off first. But hopefully Arkansas can continue to be a great defensive team when it comes to stealing bases.
That'll do it for your Hog Update this morning.
And it's brought to you by Mock Legal Solutions here in Northwest Arkansas, the River Valley, Eastern Oklahoma. Mock Legal Solutions is there as your hometown law firm, offering real advice at reasonable prices. They've expanded their practice and are ready to help you in 3 primary areas: custody, criminal, and car wrecks. And Jackie Mock has been able to help navigate high-conflict divorces and high-conflict custody cases. Don't walk alone on this. Walk with Jackie down this high-conflict path. And if you find yourself on the wrong side of the law, she will hold the prosecutor's feet to the fire and make sure your rights are protected as well. Don't face those charges alone. Face them with her. And as a former insurance defense attorney, she knows how to get big insurance to pay a fair settlement for your car, truck, and your injuries. So don't negotiate alone. Negotiate with Jackie. Call Jackie and her team, 479-769-1505. Let her do the legwork and help to get you back on the right track with Mock Legal Solutions.
You mentioned Camden Koziel right there, talking about, the middle infield that has to come down and catch those throws from Ryder Helfrich, attempts from stealing from first to second base. Camden Koziel is being potentially honored. He's one of the 9 finalists for the Tony Gwynn Community Service Trophy, which is given to baseball student athletes who are active in their community and represent their programs with integrity while excelling in the classroom and on the field. Camden Coachell is obviously one of the fan favorites. He has been for a long time, whether it be making great plays at second base, hitting towering home runs over into Mackey's bases loaded landing, or, wrangling various wildlife out there. Camden Coachell is a favorite, and I hope he walks away with this award.
I sure hope so as well. He can wet a hook out there in Lake Norm. Hey, the best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every day, Joe's Grill makes fresh from scratch salsa, queso dip, and guacamole. Fresh, crispy, warm chips to start your meal, plus fajitas, enchiladas, tacos, burritos, and more. That will make your experience one you won't forget. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Morning Rush Daily Question on the other side.
Streaming live from HitThatLine.com.
I watch Arkansas play this year. I thought I was going to have Arctech. Holy, what a great play! Oh, what are they doing?
You're listening to the Morning Rush.
If your Razorback closet needs an upgrade, the University of Arkansas Game Day Collection is what you are looking for, only at Roback.com. They have brand new Arkansas hoodies and polos that are selling fast. Go to Roback.com to check out their new apparel. It's Roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use the code RUSH26 for 20% off your first order. Roback, where action meets comfort.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. If you're going to do some cold water bass fishing, you need to be using an Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad and can be worked from the top of the water column to the bottom. Whether you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. will catch them. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr.
Take it from Arkansas greats Joe Klein and Pat Bradley.
The big natural sports sabs are now in Arkansas, taking over Oaklawn and Bentley, which are no longer local.
Making Bet Saracen the only real local app.
Still Arkansans' fan fave.
Plus, Bet Saracen is still the official sports betting app of many of the state's colleges and universities.
Bet Saracen, built by Arkansans for Arkansans.
Bet with Arkansans. Bet with Bet Saracen.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET.
This is a pretty frequent topic of discussion in that cutthroat Arkansas sports radio market.
This is the Morning Rush.
For generations, Hardscrabble Country Club has been the heart of great golf in Fort Smith. For 100 years, it's where families...
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Taco Bell's lunchboxes are going to people's heads. Because once they've indulged in the mainstays of the $5 box, the decadence of the $7 box, and the abundance of the $9 box with its monumental triple-double crunch wrap, they start expecting everything to be as Lutz. Don't let the Lutz go to your head.
Where's the doorman?
There is no doorman.
That's why we're waiting.
Let's go. Try Taco Bell's $5, $7, and $9 Lutz boxes.
Lewis Automotive has been serving Northwest Arkansas for over 75 years and just getting started.
Our knowledgeable sales team is here to find you the perfect vehicle to fit not only your lifestyle, but also your budget.
Our factory-trained service technicians keep your vehicle running at optimal level.
And if you're looking for genuine parts and accessories, our team has exactly what you need.
Relax in our comfortable lounge, and when your car's ready, we'll return it to you spotless.
Thank you for being a part of our story.
Come see us at Lewis Automotive Group, where you're more than a customer, you're family.
If your Razorback closet needs an upgrade, the University of Arkansas Game Day Collection is what you are looking for. Only at Roback.com. They have brand new Arkansas hoodies and polos that are selling fast. Go to Roback.com to check out their new apparel. That's Roback.com. RHOBACK.com. Use the code RUSH26 for 20% off your first order. Roback, where action meets comfort.
David Bowie got more fame with his #1 hit titled Fame. John Lennon co-wrote and sounded some of the high notes. The last line in the first verse sums it up. Fame puts you there where things are hollow. John 12:43 tells us that many people rejected Jesus because they loved the fame of people more than the praise of God. Is it any wonder you get more fame by rejecting the name of Jesus? I'm Pastor E from Woodland. Think about it.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or any individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The homestead tax credit could save you up to $600 off your tax bill.
So I had pain in my feet for a good 20 years.
It felt like I was standing on marbles.
Something wasn't working with my feet. Was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis.
If your feet aren't comfortable, the rest of the body suffers.
So I went into the Good Feet store and bam. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support.
You put in the arch supports. To me, it was almost miraculous.
It really brought me back to being able to be me.
I can run, I can walk. This is not something that you could solve online.
Reclaim the good life with the free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store. Good feet, good life.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial.
Is Arkansas playing their final home series, their final home games of the 2026 season this weekend when they take on Oklahoma? That's the Morning Rush Daily Question. Everyone's got an opinion, and I think we're hopeful that you get a regional, but I think this is the year that we, at least for me, I've become resigned to the fact that I don't think a regional is going to happen in Fayetteville. So that's the question. Is Arkansas hosting their last 3 games in Fayetteville this weekend when they take on the Sooners?
I think it would take 2 sweeps of both Oklahoma and Kentucky and also several wins. I mean, almost basically an SEC championship, appearance to somehow vault your RPI up into potentially hosting, because that's kind of where the Razorbacks are right now. They have a lot of quality wins on their schedule. They had a really good month of April. They've started out hot so far in May. But some of the pitfalls they had earlier on in the season, losing games and tying matches to Stetson, Arkansas State, also getting beat a couple of times as well in games they could have won. That kind of knocked their RPI down just a little bit. But for me personally, I obviously would love to see the Razorbacks play more games here at Baum Walker, especially with a potentially a regional or a super regional, something like that. Would be fun, obviously, for the fans. But I don't know if they did enough, early on in March to be able to really lock up a good solid RPI. But I don't think it's gonna, I don't think playing at home is the only way in which they could get to Omaha.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen them claw through the bracket in multiple different ways, obviously most recently going to Stillwater and then Chapel Hill to make it to Omaha in 2022. But I think that it would take a lot of wins here consecutively in a row, a really, really hot May for any baseball to be played post this weekend in Baum Walker.
I just, I don't see a path really, even if you sweep and win a few games in the SEC tournament, that you're probably going to be able to get the RPI up and host, just simply because the teams you need to also win in your RPI to make that algorithm work. And don't ask me to explain it, but the teams that have been on your schedule, you need your opponents' results to be good. So the two things don't really go together. I do think we're seeing the final 3 games, but like you, I don't think that is necessarily a doomsday scenario for Arkansas to not advance past a regional or into a super. I would be shocked. I would be floored if this team got to Omaha somehow. And it's going to take a tremendous elevation of where they're playing. Is it possible? Well, anything's possible with the Dave Van Horn team. I just think this is a year that's not going to live up to the recent standard. But I do think they're hosting games and playing in front of the home fans for the last time. I hate it for the fans. Yeah. I know this Friday and Saturday's ticket in particular is a hard one to get right now. Sunday, I think you'll be able to get in the ballpark. It's Mother's Day. A lot of people have family plans. I think there will be tickets available if you want to go on Sunday. But make the most of it. I think you're seeing the final games of the 2026 season this weekend in Fayetteville. That's the Morning Rush Daily Question. It's brought to you by Cart Path Social, Northwest Arkansas's #1 destination for indoor golf. 10 TVs, the perfect place to watch baseball, whether it's the Razorbacks or MLB, and get your friends together. Congratulations to Sean Nicholas, winner of the Masters Invitational. They're going to have more spring tournaments that are coming up as well. It's always a BYOB establishment, so they do have some basic snacks and beverages there, but you're always welcome to bring your own food and bring your own drinks in and have your own event there at Cart Path Social. 122 Grant Place in Lowell, 479-487-3622 is their number. You can book online and secure a reservation today for your corporate, family, or other events that you want to get together at cartpathsocial.com. That's cartpathsocial.com.
Cliff texting in here on our Lewis Automotive hotline. He says, yes, last series. B in Clarksville gave a solid probably. And then Ryan also texted in saying they haven't been bad on the road this year, which is very true. They've got some sweeps, obviously, on the road at Alabama. They took care of Missouri as well, South Carolina. I'm probably forgetting one of those, but they also have Kentucky coming up on the road for their final series of the regular season. Tommy,
the other one was Auburn.
That's right, and they didn't end up. They lost that series, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So they had not been bad on the road this year. But one of the things, Tommy, that you mentioned and we talked about yesterday a little bit is they've got to find. They've got to find somebody they can go to on Saturday after Dietz pitches on Friday. They've got to be able to have a second pitcher that they trust. I know that they've been pulling the TBA out there for several weeks now with obviously for your Sunday starter, but now that's kind of creeped in also as well to the Saturday for the second game of a series as well. And some of that obviously is a little bit of, I don't want to say cloak and dagger, but I mean, it is a little bit of a guessing game for the opponents as well. They don't exactly know who the Razorbacks are going to trot out there on the mound, but you've been really, really pleased with what you've seen from Hunter Dietz. He's proven that he can be an SEC ace and a type of caliber pitcher I think that we're accustomed to watching here at Arkansas. But outside of Hunter Dietz, everybody else on this pitching staff has been, I mean, inconsistent to be as nice as possible about it. So they've really got to find somebody else that can take the ball on the mound and be able to give you 5-6 innings on a Saturday.
The fact that you're down to weeks 9 and 10 of the SEC and don't have all three starters nailed down tells you the kind of year it's been. There's been some injuries. You needed Wiggins back. Apparently, he's not going to be available. You know, injuries have been part of it, and just guys that haven't lived up to what you evaluated them to be through the recruiting and transfer portal process. I know this, and this is going to be a season where the Hogs end up in the postseason. They're not going to miss it as they did about 10 years ago. But following that season from 2017 on, they made the College World Series in 15, went 0-2. I believe it's Virginia and Miami beat them in those two games, missed the tournament. And from then on, the changes that Dave Van Horn made have led to, one of the greatest runs without a national championship we've seen in any sport on the Hill ever. And I feel like for whatever time and however many more years that he wants to be at the helm, and it'll be his decision, there will be tweaks. There will be changes, and Arkansas will come out the backside of this for 27. I think a more finely tuned program. Only he is very candid in his postseason press conferences.
Yes.
When the season's over and he gives it a week to breathe or whatever, he'll tell you how the cow ate the cabbage a lot of times. He'll tell you what went on, and it's always very insightful. One of the best. Season concluding press conferences of the year is usually Dave Van Horn. So we'll get a good idea, and I think we'll get a glimpse into the roadmap of what will be ahead. That's what he's always done in the past, Colton.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That baseball team and what he's done since 2017 has still been the model of success, obviously, for what a lot of college baseball teams have aspired to, what a lot of other programs have also tried to really model themselves after as well. So I know that DVH has always tried to get the best players in here, including ones that are extremely well, extremely well spoken, very intelligent, great in the community, and also very, very athletic as well. Because we've seen a lot of those great players here at Arkansas not only be great baseball players but great athletes as well. And speaking of athleticism, I don't know if you caught this or if you have listened to this or seen any of this at all. I was going to put a couple of audio clips on, but they just ended up being kind of garbage. It was mostly Todd Golden just talking, which no one really wants to listen to. But I'll take that in just a second. But Tommy, I wanted to know: do you remember? I don't know if this was around back in your day. I don't mean to date you in any possible way. But yeah, I don't mean to date you in any possible way here, but did you ever do the presidential fitness test? Do you remember any of that?
I do remember that in grade school.
I got you.
I don't think I ever got my medal.
They're bringing it back, as far as I've seen with President Trump under this administration. I just remember some of those events, having to run the mile, having to do the shuttle run, and things like that. The hang, like on the pull-up bar, how many pull-ups you can do. I was always very good at those because I could hang up there forever.
Well, and you're rail thin.
I don't weigh anything at all. I could do the pull-ups, no problem. The only thing I could not do, like at all, is the sit and reach. I literally have no flexibility at all in my lower body. I could not, even for the slightest.
So your hamstrings are all locked up.
Are super tight.
Well, you just got to work on that.
I know that, but I don't.
Toe touches, man.
I never stretch either, so maybe that had something to do with it as well. But presidential fitness test coming back, and I would like for everybody to try and aspire to become, a medal winner in that.
A few of the guys that I'm still around, that play golf into a very advanced age, we'll just say. I've asked them, hey, how are you still able to do this? And they credit stretching. And I am horrible at getting up every morning, and I don't do it. I mean, if I go to the gym, there's some stretching. If I don't, there's no stretching. And I'm telling you, that stretching's a habit we should all find a way to get into.
My grandfather, who lives here in Fort Smith, he plays golf a couple times a week, and he's an octogenarian. He's getting up in age there as well, and he's told me that, he's had to tone it down a little bit because it's hard to, get out there on the course and everything, but he says it's made it a lot easier because he does do a little bit of calisthenics, as he calls it. So that's one thing I haven't seen in person, but I'm willing to bet that if he can do it, all the young folks out there can do it as well, because people should get the hell off their phones and get off of the TV and off the YouTube and get out there and be active. That's a good thing. So I'm glad that the administration is actually trying to get that back here. I just thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
That, we're bringing that back.
Well, good. Maybe one of my kids will bring home a presidential
so.
medal. So, hey, as the heat turns up, your equipment can't afford to slow down. And at Sharp Equipment, Sharp will keep you working with quality parts, quick repairs, and a team that knows how to get you back up and running fast. Sharp Equipment can save you big with Wacker-Neuson Q2 specials. Things like 0% for 48 months. They also got 0.99 for 60-month financing and even cashback offers on select compact tractors. So whether you're tackling land, lifting loads, or fixing what broke in the field, Sharp has your back. See Sharp Equipment, 3918 Pointer Trail East in Van Buren, or give them a call at 649-0500. 479-649-0500. Sharp Equipment, keeping your world moving. Less downtime, more done.
Tommy, while we got a little bit of time left here in this first hour, I wanted to touch on some of the things that Coach Ryan Silverfield said recently to Pete Nakos of On 3. I don't know if you've read these quotes or not. We talked a little bit about it yesterday after you had to attend your important meeting yesterday, so we couldn't get. I'm not trying to be disingenuous. I mean that literally. But I wanted to know.
It was real important.
Well, I'm sure it was. I wanted to know if you heard some of these recent quotes from Silverfield about how, talking about how he doesn't know if when they line up, if they'll be an even match against Utah or how they match up against Georgia, but they want to be the best in the country in attitude and controllables. I just want to know, is that loser talk or what?
That's a brace yourself kind of phrase right there. I mean, but here's the thing. Who expects Arkansas to be able to go toe-to-toe with ranked teams right now?
Not I.
2 wins, 3 wins. A lot of you are in that camp. I'm hoping for a couple more, but, I mean, he should be Coach of the Year if they get to a bowl game. Coach of the Year.
Yes.
National Coach of the Year. And hopefully they get the resources and the time that they need to put together the roster that can be competitive. But this is a tough schedule and a tough situation to walk into. 4 or 5 wins would be hero's work.
Heroes.
And he knows it. He's telling you he knows it.
Hopefully, Coach Silverfield can be the hero here for the Razorback football program. Tom Murphy coming up, Hour 2, Morning Rush. Stay tuned.
Crappie anglers, when it comes to crappie fishing, there's only one baby shad. The original baby shad, crappie fishing's #1 selling bait. Featuring a sleek back, streamlined belly, and quivering tail, that bait just won't stop moving, no matter the temps, no matter the conditions. Built for dead sticking and action-based techniques also, the original baby shad gets right to the point, catching slabs and filling freezers. Bobby Garland Crappie Baits, the leader in crappie fishing innovation.
Hog fans, this is Robert.
This is Elizabeth.
And this is Matt, and we're with the Stadium Shop on Razorback, the only local family and Arkansas alumni Razorback store in the state.
And the Stadium Shop is the largest Razorback store south of the North Pole.
You know, it seems there's always a Razorback sporting event happening.
And if you need something new for your home, office, or just want to update your wardrobe, the Stadium Shop has new stuff arriving all the time.
And we don't have to ask someone from corporate office to get something that Hog fans want. We are the corporate office.
Hey, Matt, did you hear about the tree out in front of the store?
No, what about it?
I heard it's a bit shady.
Wow, you've got to leave these jokes alone.
Anyway, you can see the shady tree and all the hog stuff at 989 South Razorback Road here in Fayetteville.
But not everyone can get to Fayetteville, so we've got one of those www Google.
Dad, again, it's called a website, and it's shoponrazorback.com. That's shoponrazorback.com.
Or they can call us at 479 Stadium. That's 479-782-3486.
Folks, it does not get more Razorback than us.
Go Hogs.
Looking for a fence that stands out and stands strong? Call the Fence Man, 479-782-3936. Serving the Fort Smith area for over 40 years, the Fence Man builds custom, one-of-a-kind fences, residential, commercial, and high security. Need automatic gates? The Fence Man does it. Need financing? You got it. 18-month financing is available. Get your free quote today at thefencemanar.com. Or call 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
This is the Morning Rush.
Graduate to a Road Ready Certified Pre-Owned ride and get more for your trade at Rath Auto Resources. Just bring in your old car, even if you still owe money on it. Make the switch to a Road Ready Certified Pre-Owned and get up to $2,000 over appraised value for your trade. With our non-commissioned sales team, painless pricing, and some of the best lenders around, Rath is here to make finding your next car, truck, or SUV easy. Don't settle for the same old car buying experience. Get up to $2,000 extra for your old ride and see why all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith.
I want to ride my bicycle.
Looking for a new ride or need a tune-up? Champion Cycling in Fort Smith has you covered. From top-of-the-line bikes like Specialized and Surly to expert repairs, apparel, and accessories, we've got everything you need to hit the trails. Stop by 5500 Mazard Road during business hours or shop anytime online at championcycling.com. Champion Cycling, helping you share in the joy of cycling.
Busy season is here, and C2 Supply is ready to keep you stocked and moving. Whether you're tackling big jobs or everyday work, they've got the supplies to keep you running smoothly. From hard-to-find items to everyday essentials, their team is here to help you get what you need fast. Stop by C2 Supply, 602 North Broadway in Poto, or give them a call at 918-647-0430. C2 Supply, keeping your jobs moving all season long, and let them see to your supply needs.
Valley Family Dental at the entrance to Riley Farms provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, same-day crowns, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nice work to give all of their patients a better life with a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A at the entrance to Riley Farms. Let them know you heard this on ESPN Radio and receive $300 off a snore guard. Valley Family Dental, 479-226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
Smalls here. If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds can turn into sinus infections that last weeks, ruining your perfect vacation getaway. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and a pharmacy, it's stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having an urgent care and a pharmacy at home. It includes prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of illnesses. So if you wake up sick, at home, or on the road, you have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent urgent care, and no pharmacy lines. Also, no copays. Match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor. Start meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs a medical emergency kit, so order yours online in minutes. It's shipped right to your door. Save $45 with my promo code SMALLS at urgentcarekit.com/smalls. That's promo code SMALLS at urgentcarekit.com/smalls. Prescription required. Always consult your doctor to determine if this product is right for you.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees or minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bank guide for details. Capital One and name member FDIC.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Sunny sky today. A high this afternoon will be in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Clear to partly cloudy, mid to upper 40s overnight. Friday, right back to sunshine, mid to upper 70s, and then a little warmer Saturday with a high into the low 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Colorworks. Whether it's the weather or just life, call Andy at Colorworks Paint and Body for all your auto body repairs. Big or small, old or new, they are the choice for auto body repair. Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, you're listening to ESPN 95.3. ERX Paris Fort Smith. This hour of the Morning Rush is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. You could drink beer, the superior light beer for the social athlete.
Morning light breaking through the sky. Tommy and Ty got that crazy drive. Tune in now, don't be shy. Morning Rush gonna make you feel alive. Wake up, it's time to go. Tommy and Ty, they steal the show. ESPN Arkansas, feel the flow. Morning Rush, Morning Glow. Sports talk hit the ground running. Life's and news always done. Game day vibes got you humming. Catch the beat, it's truly coming. Wake up, it's time to go. Tommy and Ty, they steal the show. ESPN Arkansas, feel the flow. Morning Rush, Morning Glow.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios with Gordon Little and Tommy Kraft. This is the Morning Rush.
I'm here in place of Ty this morning, Colton Little with Tommy Kraft. Not sure if it's a morning glow, kind of like a really dim nightlight, unfortunately.
It's better than yesterday. Yesterday, and I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about just it was overcast. It was a little cool.
It was a little blue.
Much better day to day on tap weather-wise than what we enjoyed yesterday. But still not bad for me. I was looking at in Facebook things pop up from 8 years ago to a memory where it had snowed here in early May. It was like 8 years ago or something, but.
It's one of the worst times of the year for weather because you wake up and it's 30 degrees outside or 40 degrees, and then 2 hours later when it's like 9 o'clock, it's already 75. May is hard, and if you got allergies too, it's even worse. To be popping Zyrtec or
I think
Benadryl,
all the
it is like candy.
The oak tassels are just about gone. So thankfully the pollen hopefully will start
what's the
residing.
Pollen count today. Someone text that in to us 877-377-6963.
All right, Tom Murphy coming up in just a few minutes. He'll join us. We'll talk baseball and get ready for the weekend. Mother's Day weekend coming up, and if you want to take Mom out for maybe an early treat for Mother's Day, Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith's the spot I'd take Mom, or maybe date night with the wife, give her a little break from the kids and not cooking dinner, not cleaning up, or maybe just a little less stress, a little less hectic by going to Uncorked. Delicious foods, great drinks. They've got wines that you can try by the ounce in the glass that you won't find anywhere else. You can get one of the Uncorked cards there that go on the machines, and it's really a fun experience. And their menu has a little bit of something for everybody. I like deviled eggs. Some of you do, some of you don't. I get that. but their fried deviled eggs are unbelievable as an appetizer. Charcuterie boards, the spicy meatballs. You can just keep going down the list, and, of course, great entrees that are always available at Uncorked. So try it. They'll have some specials for this weekend as well. It's all at Uncorked, Phoenix Avenue, next to Sody's in Fort Smith. You can make a reservation online at uncorkthefort.com or stop in and have a great meal or an after-work drink at Uncorked, 5501 Phoenix Avenue, next to Sody's in Fort Smith.
Would be a great place to watch the game, just a mouthful of fried deviled eggs and everything.
Well,
like
they've got that
too.
huge screen over the bar that they can make into 4 different games, or they can put one big game up there. So it's really cool what they can do there.
It'll be a very fun game, especially this weekend. Hopefully the Razorbacks can take advantage of Oklahoma and come in here and teach those Sooners how we play baseball really in the SEC. First time you're matching up with them since they've joined the conference, and should be in a very exciting matchup. Luckily, we have somebody here now, Tommy, that knows a little bit more about what could possibly go on. We have Tom Murphy here with us, as we always do on Thursdays. You can read him in Whole Hog Sports and in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette as well. Tom, thank you for making some time with us this morning. Got to read your piece in the Whole Hog yesterday about the interview that you had with Skip Johnson, Oklahoma's head coach, and the threat on the base paths that the Sooners will provide against the Razorbacks this weekend. The next 2 games, the next 2 series for the Razorbacks, Oklahoma and Kentucky, as you mentioned in your article, they have a need for speed, both of those teams, Kentucky and Oklahoma. Where do you see the Razorbacks, how are they going to handle a very, very aggressive team on the base paths this weekend in Oklahoma coming to town, Tom?
Yeah, morning, guys. Always a pleasure. It does provide a contrast because, they faced Georgia and Ole Miss here, their last 2 home series, and those are 2 of the biggest banging teams, particularly Georgia, leading the country in home runs. And now, their pitchers, I guarantee you, they've worked this week on holding runners on, varying their deliveries, and giving Ryder Helfrich a chance to throw some of these guys out. Oklahoma's built for that. They play on the turf. They take advantage of their speed. They'll go from first to third on you. They'll send runners from second on pretty much any kind of single to the outfield. And so they're not as much of a home run hitting threat, but they just got a lot of power. They just try to disrupt what you're trying to do defensively and get into their pitchers' heads. Interesting, though, you talked about Arkansas trying to show Oklahoma how you play ball in the SEC. Oklahoma's won in the last 4 games of this series. So it's time for the Razorbacks to get little something back on the Sooners.
I wish I'd have known that before I ran my mouth. Thank you for putting me in my place this morning here, Tom. Your article this morning that you wrote yesterday for Whole Hog Sports, you talked to Skip Johnson, the OU's head coach, and he was very complimentary of the fans at Baum Walker and the environment that the Razorback faithful always pour into there. It's like a football atmosphere and a baseball environment, was his quote. Tom, what else did you take from that conversation that might actually end up playing to Arkansas's advantage this weekend with OU coming to town?
Well, their pitching's a little bit unsettled. Their second guy, Johnson, and they've got a Cameron Johnson and a Camden Johnson on their team. And so, Razorback fans have been used – that's weird, isn't it? And Razorback fans have been used to having Cams around lately with Cam Little, Cam Ball, and now Camden Kojal. And so but the Johnson, the pitcher, he came out of his last start, and I wrote about this today as well. After 1 inning against Florida, they had a 2-0 lead and ended up losing the game. But he tweaked his knee a little, and they think he's going to pitch this weekend, and they really hope he can start game 2. But they're starting pitching a little bit. They've mixed things up during the course of the year, and so I think that's going to be. And they didn't get great length out of either of their first 2 guys last weekend, so that'll be something they'll be keeping their eye on. But crucial series for Arkansas. They're right on that fringe of the potential hosting. But I think they have to come close to basically winning out to be thought of as a host for this series.
Well, and you look at the standings, we like to say we're tied for 6th, but you're also tied for 8th as well. Just depend on your perspective. It's going to be a good weekend for scoreboard watching around the league as well. You got a wad of teams at 14-10 and 13-11 that go from 4 to 8 in this league, and then Oklahoma's just on the back side of that with Ole Miss, who you took down last weekend at 12-12 each. This is an interesting weekend to see how the conference standings will shake up following the games that are played over the course of the next 4 days, beginning tonight.
There's no doubt about that. There's so many teams that are right in there compact that are within like 2 or 3 games of each other. I mean, for instance, I think OU sitting there at 12-12.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're within 3 games of being like in second place or something.
Right.
So it's that close of a deal. I mean, Texas and Texas A&M are the teams that are ahead behind Georgia, but ahead of the Razorbacks. So It's a really compact deal, vying for position to host regionals. And that's why there's just so many teams ahead of the Razorbacks when it comes to trying to host out of the SEC that I think that's what makes them a little bit of a long shot at this point.
Texas at 15-8, third in the league, plays Tennessee, who's down at 12. But some interesting series. A&M is at Ole Miss this weekend. Ole Miss trying to climb back into that conversation after losing at Arkansas. Maybe the most interesting for Arkansas and where the league standings might lead them after this weekend is Auburn at Mississippi State. Both of those teams right in this wad of teams. Auburn at 14-10 is tied for 4th. And then you look at where Mississippi State's at right there with you as well. They're also 14-10. Somebody's going to lose that series, and that's going to help some teams that are around them.
Yeah, and that's what's so. And thank you for enlightening me on that. I wasn't sure who was playing who. I hadn't looked into that, but there could be a lot of potential movement if Arkansas can win the series to move up into the top 4 or 5, depending on how the others go. But it's just it's such a tough conference when you look at in terms of baseball, softball, basketball, just a lot of teams trying to claw their way to the top. And I think Georgia's got another home series this weekend, maybe against LSU. I believe that's who they're playing to potentially try to put this thing away heading into the final weekend.
Yeah, and the thing is, with 2 wins this weekend, Arkansas can guarantee themselves at least a 500 record in the league. With 13 wins, they would at least finish above 500 with a couple of wins over OU. Interesting for, I think, particularly people living on the western side of the state. You get Oklahoma in here. They were kind of a perennial non-conference team for many years. They would play at the minor league ballpark in Oklahoma City at times. But this is a team I would like to see Arkansas form somewhat of a rivalry with. I think it's going to be hard to replace teams like LSU and Ole Miss that you've played for years. But, Tom, there is some border pride, I think, with a lot listening this morning, that this series will mean a lot and will probably create some talk one way or the other at the Mother's Day lunch table this Sunday.
That's right, and particularly, like you say, fans in the western part of the state. I think you and I are of like mind on this, that I think OU and Arkansas football, it doesn't look like they're going to be annual rivals, but I just thought that would have made really good sense. And I like the idea, when your campuses are 4 hours apart, to just play more often, to get more of a familiarity, to get more of a, 'cause to me, it ought to be hotter than Arkansas, Missouri football. And so it might take another 3 decades if the current conference alignments hold up for that to become a thing. But I also believe it extends to baseball, because when I look at this from having been here the last 17 years, you don't think of OU as like necessarily even being in the same conference, but now that they are, you don't see that familiarity. And I'll tell you, the fans who know about the Orange Bowl from way back when, the 77 football team, know that the thing with OU could be a lot bigger, and I would like to see it grow.
Rolling Sales, what a great game that was. Tom Murphy, you're our guest here on the Morning Rush. You can read him in Whole Hog Sports and the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. And you were just talking about, the Western Front here. Growing up in the most northwestern corner of the state, for every 3 kids in my class that had a Razorback jersey on, there was some toothless child left behind wearing a Sam Bradford jersey too. So I would love to get that OU series rolling in every single sport. And talking about football and Sam Bradford right there, Tom, what do you make of the recent comments from the AFCA, including their thoughts on 24-team expansion, a sooner start to the season, and a sooner end in mid-January, and then the complete elimination of conference championship games? I think I can be in favor of maybe one of these in total, Tom, but some of the others, they don't sound like that good of an idea, potentially devaluing the regular season a little bit. Tom, what do you make of some of these recent comments from the AFCA?
Well, for one, I am glad that they came out and just had a stand on it. Like here is the assembled coaches in the country, and here's what we have to say about it. The one I liked the most was the calendar, trying to get things over by the second. I believe it's the second Monday or the second Saturday in January, and that just makes sense to me. And it does necessarily mean starting the season earlier, but that's where we are, because if you're going to expand the playoffs, it's just another level of rounds that you have to play. And I note that they put in there, in thinking of the athlete, what they're aiming for is the health or the well-being of the athlete. But what the administrators can't help think of is how to milk more money out of this thing. And so I do believe you're going to have to convince a lot of people to do away with those conference championships games because of all the tie-ins, all the marketing that has gone into these over the years. And, the off-ramps for those, I don't know how many years it would take based on current contracts that these conferences have with various entities. So I don't know. The off-ramp of that seems to me to be very messy. But I don't mind the idea of doing away with conference championship games. It's that early part of December where you can make up ground on the calendar if you did away with that. So I don't know what will eventually become of this, but I know for instance, the basketball coaches, they did not want to expand the NCAA basketball tournament, but that looks like where we're headed as well. I don't think expanding football into 24 or anything beyond where they are right now makes a ton of sense, but it just seems like that's where they're headed.
Well, you sit down with a calendar and then you do the math and then you figure out how many games do we really want teams that play in the championship to ultimately play in total. Because I'm with you, I think eliminating conference championship games is nowhere near a starter anytime. That's out anytime in the near term. You start counting up weekends in December. You start figuring out, can you go head-to-head with the NFL? You probably don't want to do that. Your TV partners don't want to do that. If you get to 24 teams in a bracket, depending on your buys, how many games does that look like? How many rounds does that look like? 5 rounds, perhaps? If you play 12 and then 13, do you really want teams playing 18 games at the end of it all? Because you're not going to shorten the regular season. You're not going to eliminate home tickets. To me, how many do you want to play as many games in college football as some NFL teams are playing?
Exactly, Tommy. And there's got to be a limit to how much, like you're expanding. It has happened with the playoff. It has expanded, and we went further into January, I believe, last year than ever. You do not want to be like the NFL that's playing into February. It just does not make any sense to me. In terms of the school term and all that kind of thing. And so I think they're going to really have to get together, and I think that's why the coaches did this, is to look, let's put parameters on the start and ends of the season and make this thing work out. And there's got to be a cap to the amount of expansion you do unless you eliminate conference championship games. So it's a mess, and there's just so much money involved that it seems like that's the way they lean every time, and I'm not in favor of that, but what power do I have affecting the rules and regulations of college football?
Are you a double bye fan or a single bye fan in the regular season? You want 1 week off or 2?
Well, I've always, as covering the sport, the rare ones that there's been 2, I've really enjoyed that, but I do understand if you're going to do the calendar the way we're talking, it's probably going to have to be limited to 1 bye, and but the idea of playing more than 15 games, I don't like it, but it needs to be a very rare thing where a team plays 16 as Indiana did last year.
I am a fan of the double bye for 2 reasons. A, it's a break from the work we all do collectively, and then 2, I think it makes the television selections better. They can set the schedule up in a way where every week probably has a game you're really interested in outside of your team. So I think it makes the TV assignments a lot better for the average fan that just likes to watch games.
Exactly. I get what you're saying, but the double bye, how tenable is that if you're going to keep it in this calendar?
You can't.
And I haven't put the dates onto the calendar. As much as I like the double bye, I don't believe that's going to have a long-term it's not going to last long.
Not with the 2014 bracket. Tom, good to talk to you here on Thursday. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Sounds like a plan. Have a good weekend, y'all.
All right, Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat, Gazette Whole Hog Sports with us on the Lewis Automotive Group hotline. Our visit brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas. If you want crystal clear pool water all summer long without the guesswork, Burton Pools and Spas can make it really easy for you with expert advice and trusted brands like Pool Life and Aquasil. And with the warmer weather on the way, now's the perfect time to get your water balanced and ready. Stop in for a free water test and save up to $70 on your Pool Life or Aquasil water care for the summer. Keep the pool clean, clear, and swim ready every day. Visit one of their 5 locations. Online, you'll find those at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas. Water for a better life.
Learn to swim in a Burton pool.
I've got one in my backyard I need to get the cover off of.
You've never invited me to go swimming there, so I wouldn't know.
If you got in the pool, you'd be ahead of me from all of last year. I think I was in it maybe once last year. That's what happens. But I'm going to get this year. We're going to get back to it. The kids enjoyed it. The family enjoyed it. I just I didn't find my way in.
All those chemicals and all the water tests.
It is a lot, But Burton's makes it easy. They're right down the road here from the station. I drop my sample off. They tell me what to do. They make it easy.
I drive past the ones in Greenwood every day on the way to work and just get jealous that one of them's not in my backyard.
Yeah.
Tommy, we talked a little bit right there about the college football and the playoff expansion. And did you talk about that with Ty a little bit yesterday, or were you gone after that? I don't remember.
I don't think we got to that in the first hour.
Well, I'd like to get some of your thoughts on this because it was a random post that I saw on X that kind of encapsulates what I think the average fan's take is on this situation. And I feel like this extremely devalues the regular season. I'm just going to read this here. My interest level is at 50% of what it used to be. Traditional rivalries are somewhat gone. NIL over school loyalties. There's 5-6 years of eligibility for some of these players. There's meaningless conference championships now. Recruit commitment means nothing. School constantly is asking for more donations from regular fans. And, of course, the regular season is devalued. My question is, with all of that kind of leaves a very sour taste in your mouth and makes the product a little bit watered down. I mean, you're still going to watch, right? There's nothing else on TV on Saturdays in the afternoons you'd rather watch, right?
Well, ratings indicate that you're going to watch your team. I do think it has taken, with people of a certain age, the older crowd that I'm becoming a part of, I think it has taken some of the shine off of just the love and the affection for college athletics. Because now the truth is there. We see the money. We see what it's done to the sport. The older crowd that falls back on the principles we were raised on. We all understand that we're not going back to these guys get zero money and the scholarships, all that they can expect out of the arrangement. The loyalties to the dollar now, and I think that's what rubs most of us in this camp the wrong way. The loyalty was to the name on the chest, the logo on the side of the helmet, to the state you grew up in that you wanted to represent, the pride in being a Razorback or the pride in being a lion, tiger, or bear, wherever you went. Well, now they might as well just put dollar signs on the side of all the helmets because that's what the loyalty's to. And I think that's what rubs us all the wrong way. We know it in pro sports. There's never been a question about it. You were only as loyal as long as your contract was in place. That's the problem. Is it's become a true pay for play, and we might as well put dollar signs on the side of all the helmets.
And we've blurred that line between professional and amateur now with these players who rightfully deserve some compensation for what they bring into the university, now getting their due diligence and getting paid. But am I wrong in saying and thinking that of all the things that we took from the professional level, that the most important thing is still not enacted and they're still kicking down the road, which is having some type of salary cap, having some type of way in which that there is a limit on the spending in which you can do.
But what goes into that?
Well, I'm
unionizing, essentially,
which means that you have
collective bargaining.
Yeah,
and that do you get to a point where you can have, are these guys going to become? There's so many legal questions that are well beyond my ability to comprehend all of it. But, you got to have collective bargaining, which requires a union, which requires, or at least representation that can bargain on your behalf. Can you vote that in? Can you ratify it? Right now, I think there are a large part of the crowd involved that they like it because there are no rules. The rule is there are no rules. So the rich can get richer. The schools that can raise the most money have the edge. They're not interested in change. But if you want to have a product, if you want to have something that, schools, there is competitive balance, there is a chance for someone, forget the bottom of the pack, the middle of the pack to truly compete, then you've got to have somewhat of an equal starting line. Do you think out of the top 30 or 40 schools in college football, there's an equal starting line?
No.
Not even close. And I don't know how many involved, or if you're in that top 20 or 25, are you interested in that? Probably not. I think it's a big mountain, and you got states. I mean, we could go on and on. The state of Mississippi has different laws than the state of Arkansas. Who's going to get taxed on their NIL money is different in Arkansas versus South Carolina. Florida's, you got states that don't have income tax. Other states like Arkansas have tried to catch up and exempt those kind of earnings from state income tax. You've got to get a level playing field. That's where professional sports have unions, have collective bargaining, go about it on a cyclical basis every 6 years or 8 years or whenever their deal comes up. There's built-in salary caps, like you said. There's limitations. That way each team is starting from a different place. College sports can get there, but there's a huge gap legally to fill in order to get to that point, Colton.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it with the NCAA tournament as well, the expansion. Like, it's just really hard for me as a person that's grown up watching these sports, and I've kind of been caught in between this new era where I'm coming along and trying to do my best to give you the best information and news and entertainment, but also still, aspiring towards what happened in the past, the stuff that I fell in love with. It's difficult for me because we talk about now the NCAA tournament in basketball expanding to 76 or 76 teams or something like that. And
that's what we need.
And you're exactly right.
That's what we need.
It all seems to me like, and they even have now, Matt Norlander posted this the other day, and he interviewed several of the heavy hitters in the college basketball ranks, including our very own John Calipari here at the University of Arkansas. He said, I'm a big believer in the idea that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that applies to the NCAA tournament. So it's really hard for me as just a young guy that doesn't have as much experience watching everybody else, that it's not just all about money all the time.
All right, what do you think? Lewis Automotive Group hotline open. You can call or text at 877-377-6963. Hey, join us Monday at the Mercy Golf Classic at Hartscrabble Country Club. We'll be playing in the afternoon round following the morning rush. You can enjoy a great day of golf at one of the area's top courses at Hartscrabble. Morning and afternoon tee times are still available. Call Jenny this morning and get your team or sponsorship lined up. 479-314-1133. All the proceeds from the tournament benefit the Mercy Cancer Center. Morning and afternoon tee times available. 479-314-1133. Visit mercyhealthfoundation.net/FTSM Golf.
All right, coming up next in your SEC update, Kentucky admits to cheating in the past. Surprise, surprise. Shane Beamer is super annoying. Surprise, surprise. And then maybe a little bit after that, Mischievous Mike and Dirty Diana at it again in the headlines. Back with more of that on the SEC update coming up on the Morning Rush.
Brace yourself. May Mayhem has exploded at the Lewis Automotive Group, and they're crushing prices like never before across all 5 locations. Lewis Automotive, serving Northwest Arkansas for over 80 years.
The Morning Rush finished 1 and 2 in this thing. Just saying.
Top
top of
dogs.
the list.
This is the Morning Rush.
Graduate to a road-ready certified pre-owned ride and get more for your trade at Rath Auto Resources. Just bring in your old car, even if you still owe money on it. Make the switch to a road-ready certified pre-owned and get up to $2,000 over appraised value for your trade. With our non-commissioned sales team, painless pricing, and some of the best lenders around, Rath is here to make finding your next car, truck, or SUV easy. Don't settle for the same old car buying experience. Get up to $2,000 extra for your old ride and see why all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Founded in 1950, Crabtree RV Center has grown into one of the River Valley's largest RV dealerships, proudly serving Northwest Arkansas, specializing in sales, parts, and service. We're truly your one-stop shop for all your RV needs. Conveniently located with easy access to I-40 and I-49, we're 40 minutes from Northwest Arkansas and just as close to our friends in Oklahoma, carrying top brands like Grand Design, Coachman, East to West, and Forest River. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
You've been dreaming of that new workshop, horse barn, or extra storage space? Now let Sutherland's make it a reality. Hi, this is Jeremy, sales manager at Sutherland's. From deluxe post frame packages to custom horse sheds, we have it all. And the best part, you don't have to lift a finger. Our expert crews handle the entire installation. Quality you can trust and service that's been family owned since 1917. 4 stores in Arkansas: Fort Smith, Huntsville, Hot Springs, and Stuttgart. Visit Sutherlands.com or stop by your local store today for a free estimate. No matter the project, we're here to help, because at Sutherland's, home starts here.
I want barbecue that's sliced thick, smoked long, and so tender it melts in your mouth. Sides that will fill me up like a twice-baked potato, baked beans, hand-cut fries, okra, Texas toast. You know what I'm talking about? A restaurant where the whole family can go and get a great meal for a great price. Where the owner actually comes to your table to make sure everything tastes great. I'll tell you what I want. I want Jerry Neal's.
Harry Douglas here. I don't wait for birthdays to celebrate. I grab Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It tastes like rich vanilla birthday cake with buttery funfetti goodness. Seriously, it's unapologetically extra in the best way. And it's sugar-free, so I get all that cake flavor without the guilt. It's tiny, portable, and ready for whenever I need a quick boost. I keep one with me because you never know when you'll need a little party energy. The funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
World-class trout fishing is the star of the show at Gaston's White River Resort, where a few days away from all the worries and stress will make all right in your world. Gaston's has friendly, experienced guides to help you land your limit. Enjoy your stay at Gaston's in one of their private cottages, or reserve a lodge for up to 20 people. Call now and let Gaston's help you plan your next getaway on the White River. 870-431-5202. That's 870-431-5202. Or learn more at Gastons.com. Gaston's, a first-class time, every time.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The SEC is the best conference in America.
The tough will survive in this game, and I feel like the SEC is the toughest.
Arkansas is the SEC champion.
You know, every game is a dogfight.
We're about to be tough there, yes.
Week in and week out, you're going to play some of the best, the biggest, the fastest.
But this afternoon is a day for the Razorbacks to celebrate. Arkansas wins the tournament.
Where opponents' dreams come to die.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush.
I want you to put your GM hat on for a little while for me. Kentucky hasn't won a national championship since 2012. It's been a lot of turnover as far as leadership since that time. Why do you feel the biggest reason that is?
Well, a couple of reasons, Lou. I think number one, with NIL, we can't cheat like we used to. I was hoping Boogie was on the show because we need more. We need him to kick in more NIL money and help us out a little bit.
That's Lou Williams talking with Dan Issel, former Kentucky Wildcat and All-American right there. I think he might have said the quiet part out loud there, Tommy, and I'm kind of concerned.
Now you can joke about it.
Cheated?
Now you can joke about it openly. You don't have to worry. There is no enforcement, so you can just joke about it openly. No. But I think you are right. There is probably some truth buried in his quip there. So.
Well, to me, if something comes out later on that Coach Cal was doing some stuff potentially under the table at Kentucky, that would not surprise me at all. If something came out later on that other coaches before this wild heyday of NIL, when you could openly pay players for doing stuff under the table, that wouldn't surprise me at all. That's how there's the haves and the have-nots. It's always been that way, and as long as there's been college sports, there's been college sports scandals for paying players before you were allowed to. But I just thought that was pretty funny that Dan Issel gets out there and says, well, we can't cheat like we used to. It's
Yeah.
why we haven't won, which is compared
You're
with
right.
what Mark Pope
It's the quiet
said.
part out loud, and
Well,
we know that somewhere there's a morsel of truth buried in all of that. But
just in conjunction with what Mark Pope said yesterday and his essentially groveling for forgiveness on Twitter with the Kentucky fan base and answering really tough questions, I just thought that was a pretty humorous and another not so great look for a once proud Kentucky Wildcat basketball program.
yeah, so not a surprise. And who would you put in that category in football? Would it be Alabama? Is that the easy mark? That well, now now they're not winning as much because Saban's gone because they can't cheat the way they were. Yeah. Who's the program in football you would equate to that? I think for a lot of us, we'd say Alabama because they had all the success in the last 20 years, but or seemingly. But yeah, I mean, the sad part is when you find out after the fact that hey, programs that were cheating were trying at least under the table and still didn't win. That's what would make me madder than anything. I don't think Arkansas was doing any of that stuff. And I'd really be mad if they were and still losing. That would make me more angry than anything, right?
Yeah.
To find out your program had been cheating and still not winning at the way. If I'm a Kentucky fan, and I know Whistle was, talking out, with tongue in cheek. But man, if you found out you were doing things to try to gain an edge by paying players when you weren't allowed to officially, and you still won one national title and got to, I would be pissed as a Kentucky fan. We cheated, and that's still the best we could do? That'd make me mad.
You're not good enough at cheating. You got to figure out ways to cheat better.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in your SEC update, going to give you a little touch right here on what the SEC softball tournament looks like as well. Auburn taking on Florida today, Arkansas and Alabama, Ole Miss and Texas, and then Georgia and Oklahoma as well. So lots of softball action coming your way today as well. We had a text in here earlier, I think it was from Jay in Fayetteville, said that it's astounding that Arkansas is ranked, a top 10 team in the nation, and they are still 7th overall in the SEC softball standings. That league, what they do in softball, I mean, it's just as tough as the baseball league. I think Ty gave us the stats yesterday. There's like 11 teams in the top 25 for the SEC softball ranks. It's ridiculous how deep this league is on the diamond in both baseball and softball.
Yeah, and Arkansas's RPI is number 1, but they're ranked 7th or the 7th seed in softball. You look at baseball. It's. I'll be interested to see how many SEC teams get to the College World Series.
Yeah,
it's thought that the league is down somewhat this year. Are there still 3 to 5 teams that show up in Omaha? 4 is kind of a high mark. You get 3 there, that's a really good year. Some of that's based on how the bracket ends up ultimately set up. But, is this a year where we are right that the league is not as good nationally as it's been? Is the sport as a whole down? Or when it comes time to do it in Omaha, will the SEC show out again? I'm interested to see how it unfolds.
I know there have been a lot of West Coast schools like UCLA and Oregon State that have also had a lot of success so far this season. So there's still a little bit of a grip on the West Coast for what college baseball has. But you're right, Tommy. What the SEC has done in the baseball realm these last several years, it would be quite a shock to see them not on the mountaintop again here. Come June.
All right, that's your SEC update. It is brought to you by Modular Orange. If you run a small business and don't have a professional website and you're tired of messing around with those do-it-yourself platforms, you need to check with Modular Orange. They're right here in Northwest Arkansas. They build websites for business owners all across our state. And the best part is they write it, they design it, they build it, they maintain it, they host it, they do everything you need done for $95 a month with no upfront cost or design fees. So instead of sitting at your computer, fighting with software that you don't understand, get back to focusing on your customers and your business and helping it grow. And with the rise of AI search and things like ChatGPT and Gemini, Modular Orange can help make sure your business actually shows up when people are looking online. Hey, get started with a phone call, 479-755-3043. That's 755-3043, or visit modularorange.com today.
Tommy, do you know what it means if I say that we're going to spill some tea? You know what that means?
Well, I've got a glass of tea here in the studio, so I hope it's not literal.
I asked you, no, not literal. I asked you that earlier about the tea, and it wasn't even to lead up to this. But if I was a good broadcaster, I might have. But that's not what happened. So, do you ever hear your wife or your daughter talk about how they're spilling tea?
I've heard of spilling the beans. Where you're. Is it the same thing?
Along the same
Spill
way.
the beans.
It's really sort of like hot gossip. It's just kind of what's going on. And so, what's been one of the more hot gossipy type stories that we've seen in sports headlines here recently? It is, of course, New England Patriots coach Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. And this story just won't. This story It just won't die. Now, listen, here on the Morning Rush, we are professional. We like to talk about things that are incredibly crass.
I'll say this. One of my favorite follows on social media is an Instagram account called Scenic Pisses.
We don't want things taken out of context.
Big old rack and a thick neck.
And most importantly, whenever we make mistakes, we are humble and we apologize
Yes.
and we admit them.
Because
I have a pathological need for my opinion to be heard. I don't care. But Tommy, this is getting juicy, and this is getting, I mean, very, very bad. We joked around on Ruskin and Zach a couple of weeks ago when this was, obviously the hottest news going around.
Mhm.
We talked about how there could potentially be a baby mama situation with Vrabel and Diana Rossini. But Mike Vrabel and pregnant Diana Rossini rented a private boat together 2 months.
Now, boat or a
before
yacht?
A private boat.
There's a
together.
difference between I have a boat. I don't have a yacht.
A private boat together. A private boat.
The Love Boat.
Yeah, it's a private. Well, that's what's
Good musical
happening.
selection
That's what-
here.
Thank you. That's what's happening.
Surprised you're old enough to know the Love Boat.
I'll be honest with you. I googled it last night to make sure this actually had some context.
There was actually a TV show named The Love Boat when I was a
knew
kid.
that. That's what I. That's
Yeah.
what I looked it up. That's what I thought of, and I wanted to make sure I was using this this great theme right here.
We're expecting.
I wanted to make sure I was using it in the right context. But
Well, obviously, she's lost her job, had to leave her job.
how close is he to losing his? Is there any threat at all?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
Do you think Bob Kraft's going to pull the trigger on that?
Well, Bob Kraft's got his own things that he needs to handle. That he can't really say much in this situation. I don't think
Right.
with some sexual misconduct.
Now, I can't imagine the league gets involved, but this has got to, this is going to draw a whole new set of rules, I think, about how media, the relationships at the highest levels between media and the people they cover. It's obviously, crossed more than one line. It's crossed the center line, the guardrail, and off into the median here. But this goes on, not of this nature, but relationships that get way too personal. Even when it doesn't become sexual, it gets, where is your objectivity? It can be called into question. Obviously, hers is regarding coverage of Vrabel's teams and with the Patriots. But what other secrets, what other items of interest did she learn through this relationship that help her do her job? I don't know that the viewer ultimately cares about that. I think they care about the saucy affair side of it, and America loves a good sex scandal. And now it's entered into a circle we love just as much, and that's professional football. And I think that's what makes this entertaining. What it has done for both of them has made them probably infinitely more popular than they were before.
Well, very true.
Diana Rossini was a well-known journalist that covered the NFL. Now she's, probably far better known, for better or worse. Her name and her brand has a bigger reach than it did before.
I know that stories have transcended normal sports whenever my wife brings them up to me and asks me if I've heard about them, to which I have to say, yes, we've talked about this at length. But I think that you're right. The NFL should not get into the position of starting to police the bedroom and what happens there. That is, people have to make their own mistakes. They have to do their own thing, go their own ways in life. But you're 100% correct in what you say also, that reporters and people that have these good relationships with coaches in order to get information that others aren't privy to, there does have to be something that is there where a line is drawn somewhere in the sand. And this is just a very good, obviously a little bit more, scandalous way of, this coming to light. But you're renting a private boat with
what?
with
Do
a
you think
woman
this is the
pregnant.
only time
What
this
else
has
are you
happened?
doing?
Is it unfair?
Well-
is it out of bounds to say pregnant with whose kid?
It's not. I don't think it is at all. She named the child Michael. That's not. That can hardly be it's a popular name, I know. but
I feel for her
feel
husband
like-
or soon-to-be ex or whatever's going on there, and her children
Yes, absolutely.
who got drug into all this. And same thing with Vrabel.
Well, he's seeking help, Tommy.
Well, he's been seeking help. But listen, what people do in their private relationships, is their business. Does it affect me? Does it affect my family? If the answer is no, then to each their own. But, at what point, I just don't think this is something that, the NFL should get involved in. I don't think the ownership of these teams should get involved. They're going to pay a high enough consequence and a high enough penalty with their own family, the way their kids look at them forever and ever. a marriage that will probably get dissolved. There will be plenty of retribution for both sides in this deal for the decisions they've made.
It's very true. You know what's even worse about this is that they signed their actual legal names when they went to rent this boat together. So that's mistake number one.
You know,
who would do that?
Listen, who knows? Who knows what they're? I mean, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors in their family lives, with where their marriages were at. What led to this? We all think the most scandalous things. Well, who knows what's really going on? You know, where's their separation? What, you know, who knows? It's not my place to pass judgment, but it is a fun story to follow.
Sure is.
It is a fun story to follow.
And it killed a little bit of time right there, so that's what we love to do.
Hey, at the end of a long day, how you spend your time matters, and whether you're out on the water or on the trails or just relaxing on your own land, Farm Credit of Western Arkansas is here to help you get there. Visit myaglender.com or stop by any of their 25 locations today and see how we can help you make your free time matter even more.
Tommy, real quick before we go right here, do you remember the Fail Mary? This is probably about 15, 14 years ago or so. You remember the Fail Mary where I think it was Green Bay and Seattle. Russell Wilson throws the ball into the end zone, and then I don't even remember the play, honestly. I just know that there was a contested tied catch. And
this was one where the referees one had a touchback and one had a touch. Incomplete. Well, I think it was touchback and touchdown.
Yeah, touchback,
interception, and we had co-possession of the football.
And do you remember what the referees were going through at that time?
Well, it was the lockout. It was the strike by the NFL referees union.
Luckily, the NFL may fortunately avoid another disastrous referee lockout. They're having a meeting this Thursday today to vote for a new CBA with the NFL and the ESPN, meaning they're going to probably feel pretty good about the way that negotiations are going. So we won't have to see potentially any Green Bay Packers or Seattle Seahawks fans. You won't have to see any more games that are just put into question by the minute strikes out there.
The NFL had began the process and was seeking potential candidates to officiate games if the lockout or the strike continued into the preseason.
Did they ask you?
And no, but they were taking applications. And I think just the thought of getting there and what was really at stake in a $10+ billion industry, I think they came to terms. And I'm not sure how much, as I've read more about this, was about money as much as it was evaluations were done, how much the officials were required to be available during what they called the dark season or the off season, from the time their season's over till they're required to come back for OTAs and other things. I think there were some limits that they were seeking on some of those type of activities in the off season. NFL referees, by and large, are not full-time employees, so they have businesses to run. They're professionals, whether it's an attorney or, but many own a business. Or there's one NFL referee who's an athletic director in the Tulsa area, so they have real jobs. These are while they make enough money, it could be a full-time job. Most don't treat their NFL officiating as a full-time job. So I think some of those things, in addition to compensation, were central to these negotiations. But no, we're not going to have replacement refs. It appears they've called a meeting to ratify this agreement, and it looks like the lockout of referees for the NFL will come to a formal conclusion here fairly quickly in the offseason.
Well, maybe if they don't even get back, all those referees can just go and relax over at Gaston's.
Yeah, and that'd be a good place to blow the whistle and throw the flag, and you can get out there. But listen, you won't need any referees at Gaston's because everyone can agree on what's happening there. The White River's beautiful. No one's going to disagree with that. The fishing is fantastic, and you always get one of their guys who can, if needed, step in and white hat the boat. So you know what I mean? And they can take care of everything. That's the thing I like about Gaston's. People ask me all the time, but I've never run a boat on a river. I've never tied on the right. What would you even fish with? Is it worms? Is it plastic baits?
Corn.
Don't worry. Corn. Hey, if in doubt, corn them out. Listen, it never. You don't have to worry about any of that. So if that's your anxiety, that's your worry, just let one of the guys at Gaston's take care of it all. 870-431-5202 is their number. 870-431-5202 and make your reservations for summer. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Brace yourself. May mayhem has exploded at the Lewis Automotive Group, and they're crushing prices like never before across all 5 locations. Lewis Automotive, serving Northwest Arkansas for over 80 years.
Come here, Billy. Give me something.
1, 2, 3.
This is the Morning Rush.
From sauce, dust, to nuggets. It's Taco Bell's new Diablo Dusted Crispy Chicken Nuggets. Are they mild? If they were mild, we'd have to change the name to Little Rascal Nuggets or Minor Nuisance Nuggets. Definitely Diablo. New Diablo Dusted Crispy Chicken Nuggets. A brand new classic. Only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time and while supplies last.
Did your vehicle get some dents and dings during the recent hailstorms? If so, you don't have to wait months to get it repaired. Evans Body Shop has appointments available now. Our on-site paintless dent repair team is ready to work for you. As always, we offer a lifetime warranty on our painted and paintless dent repair and a complimentary interior detail. Check out our Facebook and website for before and after pictures, reviews, and more. Call or come in today for your appointment and you'll see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
You know, you really can't plan your plumbing problems, but you can plan who to call. Trust Westark Plumbing and Expert Drain Cleaning with all your plumbing needs. They've been serving the community for over 30 years, and you can count on them for drain cleaning, septic pumping, grease traps, and full-service plumbing for your home or business. Fast, reliable, and experienced. That's Westark Plumbing and Expert Drain Cleaning. Call 479-646-5151.
We're keeping Arkansas beautiful. Want to lend a hand? Don't be afraid to get them dirty. Every day, volunteers around the state are picking up litter, planting trees and wildflowers, recycling, and more. You know what these volunteers need most? Help. Volunteer today at keeparkansasbeautiful.com. Learn more about all our programs. A message brought to you by the Keep Arkansas Beautiful Commission, this station, and the Arkansas Broadcasters Association.
In a contracting business, you're either growing or you're grinding. Success is no longer about hard work alone. It's about using AI to accelerate impact. ServiceTitan is the only integrated intelligence that seamlessly automates your entire workflow, first call to final invoice. Born in the trades, built for visionaries ready to stop operating and start automating. ServiceTitan, AI for the trades.
Wes, how many people can a large pizza feed?
About 4.
So I should tell Cousin Jeff 1.
Oh, wow. He's a big eater.
The biggest. He once got kicked out of an all-you-can-eat diner because they ran out of food. How many can a small pizza feed?
I'd say 2.
Our small pizza at $15 is a meal for 2? We should advertise this. That goat'll hunt.
Dog.
What you call me?
That dog will hunt.
Wes, dogs are man's best friend. Goats are the true hunters.
Goats?
Billy Goat Jr.'s Grammy was trained to chase squirrels, cats, birds, and rabbits. We could hear her for miles through the brush. And she'd circle them right to us.
You're not serious.
As serious as a meal for 2 for $15.
You're an interesting cat.
What you call me?
A meal for 2 for $15. Eat Jim's RazorbackPizza.com.
Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song.
Catching lightning bugs at dusk, drinking from the water hose, playing wiffle ball in the neighborhood empty lot. Summer holds a lot of memories. Don't miss another one with your child. If you need a teammate to handle a high conflict co-parent, call me, Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Now offering premium representation in high conflict divorce and custody matters. Mock Legal Solutions, 479-769-1505.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Brace yourself. May mayhem has exploded at the Lewis Automotive Group, and they're crushing prices like never before across all 5 locations. Lewis Automotive, serving Northwest Arkansas for over 80 years.
5. Go. Take one. Put it on the deck on LeBron.
It's Isaiah Joe right there, Fort Smith native, now going to have a street named after him here very soon in the city of Fort Smith, Arkansas. The Oklahoma City Thunder, along with Isaiah Joe and Jalen Williams, Razorbacks here at Arkansas, will take on LeBron James and the Lakers tonight at 8:30, as well as the Pistons and the Cavs at 6 o'clock. So some NBA playoff action for you tonight, Tommy, after the softball game this afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I saw Bruce Stanton the other night went to our friend from Pradco had
he's
went
a big
over.
Thunder fan.
Big Thunder fan. He was there for the game with the first game of the Lakers the other night. So I don't know if he'll be back for this one, but cool environment to be in and watch those Thunder win. Speaking of Bruce, you can stop by the new Bass Pro Shops in Fort Smith. They got a variety of lures made by Pradco. You can write your signature out, and they can put it on your lure for you. So for me, I could sign it, have it put on the lure, and then when I hang it up in the brush or a tree, and someone else cuts it out, months from now, they'll have that. But if that's something you'd like to, or maybe something for Mother's Day or a Father's Day gift, now's the time. It's a very small upcharge. You can do that now at the new Bass Pro Shops, and of course, you can see everything you want to see online at lurenet.com. That's lurenet.com, made in Arkansas by Pradco.
Please call if found. That's a pretty good note to put on there. I know that my dad would have appreciated that after all the countless jerkbaits I lost and all the brush times fishing with him. So I know he'd appreciate that as well. That's pretty cool over there happening at a Bass Pro Shops. That's going to do it for us here on the Morning Rush today. Halftime coming up. Matt and Phil next here on ESPN Arkansas.
Take it from Arkansas greats, Joe Klein and Pat Bradley.
The big natural sports apps are now in Arkansas.